Good Friday afternoon, wherever you may be. There you are.
There I am.
I was a little concerned. We were getting close.
Yeah. I almost didn't make it on time, but I'm here, yeah.
You are here. Notice I am wearing a hoodie because the house is cold. So
Okay. No heating in your house.
I have heat. I've just chosen not to turn it on because my wife's not here today. So
Okay,
I'm
fair
just
enough.
layering up today. Yeah. So I figured nobody would get too upset that I was wearing an extra layer of clothes. And if you are concerned about that, okay, I'm okay. I'm fine. Hi, by the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor. And what?
You might want to switch to your other Wi-Fi.
Already have.
Okay. We'll survive.
I'm on it. Yeah, I mean I'm going. Yeah, I just saw it drop out. So, but I'm here now, right?
Blurry, but yes, pixelated, like
Okay.
100 by 100 pixels resolution.
Jeez. Okay.
You know, you look like one of the characters in 8-bit games from 80s.
I feel like a character from an 80s 8-bit game right now. One of those days. Anyway, I'm Darren. This over here is Victor. And we co-host a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, we do this show. Most every Friday. We'll get to that a little bit later. And we're here to talk about things of the week. So for everybody that's here with us live, thanks for being with us live. Inken, good to see you. Kieran, good to see you. Is it the Wi-Fi over the walls that drops? It's my internet provider. And
Now you're good.
I'm not going to name them. Now I'm fine, right? Yeah, so now it takes about 10 seconds for it to pick back up. So here's a trick that I figured out, and I can't share it easily enough, but here's what I have. I have my iPhone, and notice I have it tethered, and it's USB-C'd into my Mac. There's a switch you can set and uncheck a box, so that way when my primary Ethernet cable goes out, it fails over to this. So when you saw me pixelate out,
That fell over.
that was the failover automatically.
Okay.
So you didn't lose me. I got really bad, but that's pretty
Exactly.
normal for me anyway. Let's talk about the big news of the week. We got nominated in all three categories that we were going after.
Yeah,
Now it's about voting, and that's where you, the listeners and watchers, come in. So you can nominate us. I'll take you through it. So to get to this page, you can go to any pages. It doesn't really matter. To get to this page, at the top of DevOpsParadox.com is this DevOps Dozen 2022 link. And you don't see my mouse, do you? Do you see my mouse?
No.
Weird.
No. Your mouse is gone.
Oh, gee whiz. Hang
That's
on.
okay.
Well, here, I'll because that should have, oh, you know why?
Is it OBS?
No, I'm not. I don't use OBS.
Okay.
Anyway, so DevOps Paradox or DevOps Dozen 2020 is at the 2022. There's too many twos. At the top link takes you to this page. You can click on any of the three circles. All three of them will take you to the same voting location. And there's also a vote now at the bottom. Now I want to call out the vote now, or the things above vote now. There's dates. You got to vote by December 31st. So you have a month and a half. And they'll announce it in January. One person, one vote. Don't stuff the ballot box. Let's keep it above board. One vote per IP address. So I'll leave that there. And there's a vote now link underneath there. But let me go and click over to it. So all three circles take you to the exact same place. So this is a SurveyMonkey page, and it goes on and on and on. If you notice on the right-hand side, the little progress bar is really small. So this is a very, very long thing. So go through it, take your time. They do ask for information at the bottom that is required. Okay, that's their choice. And vote for the things you want to vote for. Don't just vote for us. I mean, if that's the only thing you're going to vote for, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
But there's other things here to vote for as well. So take your time, like get a beverage of your choice, and sit down and just scroll through this and make your decision. So, but yeah, it was pretty cool to see the nominations come in, because I was checking Thursday. I got up Thursday morning and was like, "Is it out yet? Is it out yet? Is it out yet? Is it out yet?" And it wasn't until finally it was. So there we go. DevOps does. And we'll be talking about that more as we go through. I doubt that you will hear it on the podcast, because we finished recording the podcasts for the year
Exactly.
the Thursday morning. So, and this information hadn't come out yet. So that's fine. It came out in between the time we finished recording the podcast at 8 a.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Eastern when we did your live stream. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into it today. Do you have another meeting at the top of the next hour since we didn't get to talk?
Yeah, I never know. I don't know. Let me see.
Check your calendar.
Maybe I don't. Who knows? Yes, I do actually. Top of the
Okay,
hour,
good.
I'm gone.
Top of the hour? Okay, yeah. We'll be
Yeah.
done before then probably, but just to give you a few minutes to get out. This week we had Ganesh on talking about cost optimizations in AWS, and he takes us through all the different options that you have in AWS, and how one of the things that was most interesting is they've got people now that they help get into AWS and other cloud providers, but now they're also getting people out of AWS, which I thought was the most interesting part of the whole thing, because not everybody needs AWS. Linode may work for you fine. Cloud depends on what your use case is, but
I mean, first there is the difference between big guys like AWS and smaller guys. I've seen more and more companies choosing smaller ones because they're much cheaper. For example, for ephemeral environments and things like that, even though they're running production in AWS. And then there is also that division. Hey, maybe my provider of choice is not the provider of choice, the best provider of choice for every type of workload. Maybe I should do machine learning in Google, even though I'm running my applications in AWS.
for a lot of reasons, cost could be one of them, but the other is the tooling may be better for that specific thing that you're needing to do. It may not be cheaper, right? It may be more expensive, but it's a better tool set than
Exactly.
what's in what you would call your primary provider. And this is going to be getting into, I think, what we're going to be hearing a lot about next year is you don't necessarily need to pick a cloud provider. You need to figure out what your platform needs to be in your organization, and then it's the platform that slots in the implementation details. Like one of the cases that we talked about was we need a CDN. Okay, great. Everybody needs a CDN. Do you need multiple CDNs? Probably not. But let's say that right now, Cloudflare, all egress is free on Cloudflare. Ish.
Free-ish, exactly.
Free-ish, right? More free than the other providers. So why would I not use Cloudflare until I got to that ish point? And then I would decide, okay, do I stay there or do I re-implement with somebody else? But me as somebody that's consuming that platform in my company, I wouldn't care because it would be up to them to provide me the CDN service. We're going to be talking a lot more about that, I think, in the next 12 to 24 months. Okay, so if you haven't listened to this yet, it came out on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern, just like every week. And we've finished recording for the year right now. Now I just got to get everything edited. So, and 2023 is already lining up to be pretty good. I can say that much right now.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
I think so.
Okay.
We have quite a list of what I would consider interesting topics to be talking about. Plus, I think around March 1st is when we'll hit episode 200, which is when Patrick should be coming back. I haven't contacted him yet, but assuming he's not snowed under or some other thing, he'll probably come back on. So, all right. I saw this and I said, Victor's going to be happy about this. So now there is a Spain region of AWS. I don't know where it is, but it's in Spain.
Yeah, probably in some desert. But yeah. I mean that's that's something that is often overlooked if you're on the other side of the Atlantic. That over here there are all those country-specific requirements often related to data. So I think that more and more providers will eventually need to start moving into every major country for business reasons, even if that's a tiny data center.
And this one, planned investment of $2.5 billion. Pretty small. What's really nice, though, is it's almost 1-to-1 for euros. Dollars back, baby. Dollars back. $2.5 billion over 10 years. So, now, I'm guessing, is that Aragon? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Aragon. Yeah, it's a region in Spain.
So I'm guessing it's in this area, if I had to guess. Because it didn't really call out, or at least I read it too fast if it did call it out. But anyway, so that's that. Now, I threw it out there because it was Spain. That's where you live. Here's the bigger piece of information this week from AWS. Okay. So EKS now supports 124. Okay, good.
That's
what?
Good.
That's good.
What's the latest? Is it 1.5 now?
5.
5, okay.
Yeah, which they're running on their cycle right now, which is fine, right? We don't want them to bring it out too quick.
Exactly.
Right? But there was one small piece on this that I happened to catch it from somewhere else. And there's a blog post that's associated with this little release here. Obviously, back with 24 is when they got rid of Docker Shim.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was not in reality, that big of a deal, I think. Did you hear anybody really having a lot of problems with Docker Shim going away?
No, but I was screaming about it for so long that I think that even if somebody who spoke with me had a problem, they would be embarrassed to tell me.
To tell you. So they go through everything. They called this Stargazer internally. Removal of Docker Shim, we knew that. Beta APIs off by default. That's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it's not... now it's a good thing. If you said remove betas 5 years ago, I would freak out, right? Because everything was beta.
No. Topology-aware hints, which is okay, interesting. PSPs are going away in 125, which we already knew about. But this. Simplified scaling for EKS managed node groups. This is the key part, managed node groups.
Mm-hmm.
So for 124, we've contributed a feature to the upstream cluster autoscaler that simplifies the scaling of Amazon EKS managed node groups to and from 0.
Was that not possible before? Or?
No, it wasn't. Not with cluster autoscaler. Cluster autoscaler always needed 1.
Yeah, okay. You're right. I mean, you could scale it, but manually, yes.
Correct. You could force it, but yeah, cluster autoscaler wouldn't take it.
And you know what's the very silly reason why it couldn't? Because cluster autoscaler was running on worker nodes.
Right. But now...
Well...
I thought this was the biggest announcement out of this. Like, probably the most overlooked.
Yeah.
It only applies to EKS, though. But if you're running managed node groups... I mean, think about it. I can think of use cases for the day job to where it'd be really nice to get a whole node group to go away. Not even have one hanging around.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely saves on costs, right? But you still have the cost of the
control plane?
Control plane, right?
Yeah, but okay.
So it doesn't really scale to 0, but it's better than to 1 worker node.
Correct. Changes certificate controllers, credential providers, all the other stuff. So anyway, I just thought that was overlooked. So now EKS is at 124. I haven't checked Azure or GCP yet to see what they're shipping.
In this aspect, kudos to AWS, to be honest. I remember a while ago, AWS was the one that was most behind the tip. head of Kubernetes, right? They were notoriously like 3 releases behind, maybe even 4, right? Now they're actually one of the fastest, if not the fastest ones to actually upgrade. So kudos to AWS.
And now that maybe that will be in Spain, it'll be even better for you. Okay, so let's take a bet here, because I don't remember, when was this supposed to open? I want to go back.
Yeah, I mean, Spain per capita is not necessarily a powerhouse, but it's a massive country. It's kind of like, on a country level, I think it's a 4th or even 3rd biggest economy in Europe.
Oh yeah. I was just trying to figure out when it was opening up. I was going to try to figure out, okay, at what point will EKS be at? What version will EKS be at when this opens up?
Years.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. All right, so that was that. Now, we talked about Corey Quinn last week, and you remember Kelsey's Kubernetes the hard way? Well, this post is where Corey took Kelsey's Kubernetes the hard way, which was based on GCP, and did Kubernetes the much harder way on AWS. And he has his own. So basically, he forked Kelsey's repo and updated all the notes specifically for AWS.
I mean, I'm guessing, I haven't read it, but it's probably much harder way simply because in AWS you need to deal with more moving pieces than in GCP. I wouldn't be surprised that he's doing it in more or less the same way as Kelsey did it just in AWS, and that is a bit harder.
Right. And he even bought the domain name KubernetesTheMuchHarderWay.com.
Hey, I bought the domain this morning for my project, sillydemo.com.
Really?
Yeah.
That was available?
I tried with Dash. I'm not sure without Dash. I didn't try it because I always write it with
you did Dash.
demo.
Okay. All right. So anyway, if you want to go about Kubernetes the harder way, much harder way, take a look at Corey's post from this week.
Yeah.
Dependabot is getting more and more interesting by the day. Now they will put in updates for your image tags in manifests.
Okay.
So when you specify the Docker ecosystem in Dependabot, it includes an entry for each directory where Kubernetes manifest references image tags. I wish they weren't saying Docker image tags. I'm trying to filter that out. So now I'll parse the unrendered version of the manifest to keep the tags updated. Will it work?
Very cool.
I don't know. Well, so I'm going to go back to what Seth just said here. Dependabot trying to catch up to Renovate. Yes. Because Renovate's had it for quite a while.
Yes. I mean, Renovate, my experience, and it's not the biggest in the world, is actually better than, or more advanced than Dependabot, yeah.
But Dependabot is just there if you're in GitHub. So
yeah.
So anyway, if you are using Dependabot and you're using Kubernetes manifests, might be something to look at. Here's something that I thought was already there. Google Cloud Run announced yesterday that you can now tail the log in the console. This is like what?
You're confusing me, man. Okay, logs tail. Okay. I almost never use G-Cloud, so okay.
I thought you used Google Cloud Run. I mean, this is...
Go ahead.
No, it seems like log tail would have been there forever.
Yeah.
Or some version of that would have been there the whole time.
Yeah, it makes you think kind of, is this a joke or something? Is it kind of April's Fool Day? It's not. No, we're in November. Yeah. Not a joke.
No. Two different ways. You can either do tail or command line friendly formats. So no, that's baked in. If you're using Google Cloud Run, it's like, how were you getting your logs before? I guess you're going to the UI? I don't know. This is going to be a short show because we're blowing through these things really fast. I saw this
That's okay.
tool this week, Edge Delta Free Edition.
Edge data free edition.
Free edition.
What is
So,
that?
easiest way to monitor services running in Kubernetes. So now there's a completely free edition. So add this to your list, which is already super long. So they talk about the pain. They overview what it is. It's that helps teams automate monitoring toil. Don't you get tired of hearing the word toil?
Very much.
Just say tired of automating the monitoring. Okay. Reduce noise in your log data and improve what is MTTI? Do you even remember?
Mean time to recovery.
No,
MTTI.
I
don't know.
Is it incident? I don't know
Mean
what
time
it is.
to
Incident?
idiocracy.
I don't know. Here, wait. Let's see if it's down here. So anyway, here's some snapshots of what it looks like. Where's the? There it is. MTTI. Blah 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 blah. They don't even say what the I is. Anyway, completely free version. Well, at least they follow their pattern. They give you the points. They start filling out the points. But for those of us that can't keep up with all the acronyms, this is interesting. Has been spamming my corporate email lately. I haven't heard of them prior. I haven't heard of them either until this past week. So, okay. Well, anyway, might be something to look at. Might not be. There's a free version now. Then you would definitely get spammed after if you sign up for the free version. So I saw this from Jetpack today called Launchpad. Launchpad.
Okay.
Their tagline...
I'm always curious what Jetpack does. I'm never figuring out what's their business model or whatever it is. Okay.
Don't either. So Kubernetes at the speed of thought with Launchpad. It sounds like one of our podcast titles.
Okay.
It does, right? It's phrase, verb, prepositional phrase. Okay. Skip writing pages of Kubernetes YAML. You'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
And deploy in seconds using the minimal deployment config. Here's what it is.
Okay.
You have a Launchpad YAML. You still have to write YAML, but you define it as a service. Gee, reminds me of Docker Compose. But you specify it either as a cron job or as a web service. Wait, this seems like serverless.
Yeah.
Right? It's this model of the Herokus and Flies that have this different, is it a worker? Is it a web service? Is it a whatever? Yeah. Build, publish, and deploy your applications. Blah, blah, blah. And then they go through and the blah, blah, blah just means there's too many words for me to read. Nothing against what they're doing. Just because I can't see today. But normal stuff, setting up environment variables, managing that's good. Preview URLs, okay, that's cool. So there's all of this, and then if you go to the Get Started, it should it takes you to the overview, but if you go over to the GitHub, it's actually a better use case, if I can find it. There it is. So here's what it looks like. So this ASCII capture, so we get the pods, there's no pods there. We init it, we give it a name, and you can pass in the dashes to it if you want. You decide which thing you want to do, and it creates a YAML for you. And then you say Launchpad up. Again, it's Docker Compose, right? That's what it feels like. But it's covering Kubernetes.
I see an elevated number of projects moving Docker Compose to Kubernetes. When I say moving Docker Compose, I don't mean literally Docker Compose. Sometimes it is Docker Compose, sometimes it's something else, but kind of that logic of I'm going to strip out all the complexity from the manifest. There's probably something to it.
Yeah. Zero ops workflow. Okay, anytime I see that, it's like my radar goes off. Builds any image, publishes it to your registry, and deploys it to Kubernetes in one step. Okay. I have a lot of problems with that. That is the happy path. but it ignores supply chain issues. It ignores a bunch of other things, right? Just it's the rifle shot. It's like, what's the fastest way to get it done? And I'm okay with that, but there's more than just build, push, deploy.
So that's my kind of. This is working in my own infra, right? In my cluster, if I understood right, or
Yeah.
yeah. So that's one of the things I'm having trouble wrapping my head around the potential user base. Is I understand people who want simple kind of like, and that they go for SaaS version, like Google Cloud Run, like Azure Container Apps. Hey, here's my code. Not many things to think about. Go. I love it. I understand people who run their own Kubernetes clusters because they want, and then the list is huge, right? I'm not sure about in between. I'm not sure about why would you want something very simple to run your applications in Kubernetes while ignoring many of the benefits of Kubernetes, because that's what happens behind the scenes, and you don't go for managed service. Like Fly.io, right? Heroku.
Well, that's what they're saying here is you're supposed to get a Heroku-like experience on your Kubernetes cluster.
No, I understand that, but kind of,
But that's what I'm saying. What you're saying, what I'm saying is the same thing.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, just because I have a Kubernetes cluster doesn't mean I actually have a Kubernetes cluster. Somebody has given me one.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Anyway, that's called Launchpad from Jetpack.
By the way, silly demo without Dash wasn't occupied. I just bought it.
Okay.
I don't know how that was possible.
I don't either. That is pretty funny. Here's another tool that sort of falls into this same space, but not really. But yes, it's called Score. It's at score.
Oh yeah. I think that I will.
This is a spec. What they're saying, right? It's a workload spec.
No, unlike other things that I say, now I need to check it out, but I often don't because I don't have enough time. I do need to spend time with it this weekend because I'm one of the people hosting the opening ceremony, something. I still don't know what it does.
Well, this is what it does. On the left, pay attention. On the left, there's a Score YAML. On the right, it gives you Docker Compose, Helm values, or your own platform YAML.
Okay. Now, here's a question for you. What does this remind you of?
Other than the thing we just looked at?
Other than the thing we just looked at. Something that started, let's say, a year or so ago, and I was so complaining that it's very limited, but then we were talking about how that company is known to expand over time and really play the long game.
Waypoint. Yep. I was just thinking that.
Yeah. It reminds me of Waypoint a lot. I mean, there is a one crucial difference actually. In case of Waypoint, you would have simple way to deploy with Docker or to Kubernetes or here or there, but the syntax is really different. I think that Score is trying to give you, with this single YAML, you can go to all three destinations. So it was unfair what I said. It's not really like Waypoint.
But conceptually, it is. If you look at it just the right angle.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing in all these. By the way, this is just stuff that came out this week. It's not like I'm cherry picking these things and putting them together. I mean, I am pulling things together, but the theme that we're seeing this week is this whole simplifying and moving back towards Docker Compose. Not as Docker Compose, but that type of experience, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So anyway, that's score.dev. The thing I don't understand is why did they do dark and white, dark and light? I don't understand. It's very confusing. Because I can't do dark. You see what I'm saying, though? It's light at the top, dark in the middle, light towards the bottom.
It kind of hurts your eyes. Either one or the other hurts your eyes.
Okay, so here, let's look at this. So you create a score YAML, whatever this means, right? So there's a YAML. And then you get a CLI, whatever you want. And then you can run a transform, score compose, score helm, score whatever. Yeah. And then you run your workload, Docker compose, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
It's the same problem I remember a long time ago, years ago. Infrastructure as code tools were facing that dilemma. Hey, shall we do actually the same really specification for different clouds? Instead of having cloud-specific spec, which is a great idea, right? Sounds amazing for people. And then they all came to the same conclusion that if we have the same spec for all clouds, then that spec will be the lowest common denominator. And that means that we miss all the extra features, right? For good or bad. And I feel that we are facing now something similar on application level. Kind of this is the common spec, minimum viable, minimum common denominator for running here, and there, and there, and there. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. I'll give you. I'll let you guess what the next thing's about, and the first two guesses don't count.
Okay. And first two guesses don't count. I don't know. Is it about? Okay,
it's the same thing again, sort of. So this is called Opsilon, not Upsilon, but Opsilon.
Mm-hmm.
You can run container. It's different than what we were talking about. Run container native workflows. So we've talked about Task in the past and other tooling to where you can run. It's like Make or Maven or anything else. But this allows you to run all that type of work, but just run it in containers locally.
Okay, without being containers.
Well, you would still need containers.
Okay.
But whatever it is, you just say Opsilon run. So it's for workflows. It's not for CI/CD, even though it could be used. You think about it, a workflow is the abstraction in CI and CD are implementation details, right? Because a workflow is a workflow. Like processing the podcast, processing the video is a workflow.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll take a look at this. It is in Go, which is nice. It's a new project, meaning 2 days old. Or the last release was 001 alpha. Right. So this is way bleeding edge. So that's called Opsilon. And the last tool, what was this one? Oh, JovianX Service Hub. Takes us back to, and you can see the line there, platform engineers.
Okay.
Self-servicing Helm and Kubernetes.
Okay.
It feels to me, in general.
Did you pass me JovianX or somebody? I don't know.
It wasn't me. So my guess, I had to look at this a little bit. This feels roughly like Nirmata, like the Nirmata UI that they have, but it's not exactly the same, right? To where you can set up the blocks. So there's a Helm manager, so you can see all the Helm releases, and then the other things that go along with that.
Yeah.
So there have been other projects and products both that have done this, but this is the latest to join the thing, and this is also new-ish.
Okay.
So, Service Hub. And then, let me see. Hey, Martin. How you doing?
Hey.
Or Martine. I'm not sure which it is for Netherlands. Because anytime I see that, I think Martin. Again, stupid American. And let's look at your video for this week.
Okay.
The first question, yes, it is too complicated. but
Yeah.
ClickOps isn't going to get me there any faster.
I mean, I'm not a ClickOps guy. Everybody knows that, kind of. But it looked interesting for those who are hell bent on clicking. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, it's a place to start, right?
I mean, I'm trying to be honest. I'm realizing that I might be a bit too harsh and look at everything from my own perspective, prism, kind of like. Then very often, I would not do this, and then therefore it's not good, or I would do this, therefore it's good. So I'm trying to be more inclusive. Hey, there are people who like clicking stuff on a web page. If you're that person, I think that Qovery is very nice. Now, without going whether you should be that person or not.
Okay. Seth comes to save the day on this. Mean time to identify, which makes sense.
Too many acronyms.
Yes. Roberto, thanks for joining us from Mexico. You can rewind and watch everything. We won't go back. Actually, should we just do the whole show again for Roberto? Could we do that? We'd have to go a little bit faster, right?
Just you have the recording. You don't need us.
I know.
Play it again, but live.
Right. So I wanted to bring up a couple of things. We talked about the voting at the top of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so just to be explicit here, in category 3, Best DevOps, I'm having to look down because I can't remember, Best DevOps related video series for DevOps Toolkit, which is Victor's channel. By the way, the QR code that's there will take you directly to that big, long SurveyMonkey. I was going to say ugly. I'm sorry for anybody at TechStrong that's listening to me. But it's very long. But anyway, all the QR codes will take you directly to the voting page. So category 3, DevOps Toolkit. Category 4 for the podcast. And then category 6 for Victor, for Best DevOps Evangelist. The other thing that was quite shocking, and some people put this over in the Slack Workspace. I believe it was Karen that put it in the Slack Workspace. We got a lot of nominations, which we thank you for. I was actually sort of surprised they put the nomination counts there. So for anybody that nominated us, thank you very much. Now it's about voting. So if you weren't around towards the beginning, go ahead and rewind it. We talk about that at the very beginning of today's show. So the short of it is, be nice, one vote, don't stuff the ballot, do the right thing. Sure, we want to win, but we want to win the right way. So, okay. You have a meeting to go to in a minute, and you should have a few more minutes. Now, let's talk about what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So next week in the States is Thanksgiving.
Yes, I learned that the hard way. After everybody rejected my proposition to join us in the AMA session this Thursday, after third or fourth rejection, I started thinking, either people stop being afraid to tell me that they dislike me,
mm-hmm.
or there's something going on. Yeah, Thanksgiving.
So we'll come back to that in a minute. I saw Seth bring this up. So the link to the Slack Workspace is, if you go to DevOpsParadox.com and you go to, let me go here. If you go to Contact, at the top of Contact, sign up for a free account at the DevOps 20 Slack Workspace. That will take you to the sign up page. And that is not, and there's other places you can get it, but the link was broken a while back, and somebody let us know on the site, so we got all that fixed. Do you have a link? I haven't checked the link over on Technology Conversations, if it's still good or not. Do you still have one on there?
I'll check it.
Okay. If you regenerate it, let me know, and I'll update everything on this. But anyway, that's where the link is, at least for the quick way of doing it. Multiple people voting inside a corporate VPN. So here's what I'm going to say. The reason why I did this is I'm assuming most everybody has a mobile phone that is a smartphone that can read QR codes. So if you can look at the QR code with your phone and make sure you're not on Wi-Fi, it's probably not a very fast thing, but at least then you know that you're on a standalone IP address. But yes, I get the multiple people thing. I've thought about all these things, but it's bragging rights. That's what we're thinking about here.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's what we're thinking about. Is there anything else? Oh, we were talking about next week. So are you going to do an AMA next Thursday?
I don't
Have
know
you thought?
yet. I mean, if I do it, it will be without guests. I don't want to put people through pain.
But I'm not sure if I'm going to be around. So I've got to find, because I think we're going to have, our daughter's not going to be here. So we're going to have dinner with somebody else, I think. But I don't know if it's going to be dinner or lunch. But I just don't know yet. So Thursday, we'll figure it out. So just be watching. If you haven't subscribed over to DevOps Toolkit on YouTube, go do that and you'll find out. But we will be back next Friday because I have no need to go shopping next Friday. Zero. Like I've already locked up all the debit cards, all the credit cards, cash is locked away. I'm seeing all the Black Friday deals coming, all those emails coming in all week. This week I went delete. I just don't need it. The only thing I'm thinking about, and I know it won't matter, is I'm thinking about getting a Mac Studio from my wife's office, and she already knows it, so it's not like it's a secret.
You got addicted, man.
Huh?
You got addicted to it.
Well, I know it would help her out.
Yeah.
And I could probably get by with just a Mac Mini for 8 gig for her, which would be a heck of a lot cheaper, right? It would be $600 versus $700 or $1,800.
This is a bulletproof, kind of like it's future-proof.
It's going to buy us at least 5 to 10 years, I think.
Yeah, easy.
Because she runs 3 monitors already today, and with the Mac Mini, I can't get. That's the reason why I'm thinking Mac Studio is that gives me the monitors without even having to think about it, or the capacity for monitors. So, plus 32 gig is not going to make her unhappy. Talk about, and she's not here right now, and she may or may not watch this afterwards. Surprisingly, she watches a lot of these back. Her Chrome tab count is astounding. I'm not sure if the Chrome tab count that she has is greater than the U.S. debt or not, but it's got to be close.
I don't clean anything in a house, but my computer kind of like needs to be like a hospital, including tabs. I never have more than 5 or 6 tabs. I have 4 tabs open at any given time and up to 2 extra, kind of like that. That's my thing.
And how often do you close down your browser? Like do a quit, like a hard quit on your browser?
I never do close the browser.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay.
There are 4 tabs open, 2 emails, and 2 more things. And the rest is kind of like if I browse stuff, that's up to 2 tabs. Kind of one needs to be closed for another one to be opened.
Yeah. So anyway,
because it's kind of, and I know that people are used to it, and I'm not now saying anything against anybody in particular, but it's so easy to find things. You don't need to bookmark addresses or anything. You just type what you want, and it takes you there. That kind of, it's almost a waste of resources to keep tabs open.
I could argue that point. I could argue that point a little bit. I don't have tons of bookmarks, but bookmarks for me are short term, like for research. That's what they're there for. But anyway, so anyway, we may be here next Thursday, not here, but over on DevOps Toolkit next Thursday, maybe.
Yeah.
Friday we'll be back because I'm not going anywhere. But then the next Friday, which is December 2nd, no show at all. Because Victor's going to be at an event somewhere. So we'll definitely be off. So we'll be here next week, but not the week after. That's the first Friday in December, I believe. December 2nd.
First Friday in December, yes.
And then you're around the rest of the year, I think.
I'm not going anywhere until January.
Are you going somewhere nice and warm in January, I would hope?
I'm going at the end of January, very early February, going to Florida, Tampa.
That'll be okay.
And from Tampa
It'll be cold.
to Huh?
It'll be cold.
What do you mean cold? I thought that Florida is never cold.
Well, it depends. When you talk to somebody from Florida and it's below 70 Fahrenheit, they think it's cold.
Whatever that means. What kind of jackets?
A light jacket. Yeah, not sweaters, but a light jacket probably would be fine. Should be
Okay.
fine. It's that
I can
time of
live
year,
with
that end of January into February, sometimes that's when those cold things can come down from
because-
Canada.
Here's the thing. I have like to be there 3 days. I'm staying 3
Yep.
extra days. I was
Okay.
hoping for pool time. It's not pool time, right? Okay, fine.
Not so much. Not
Yeah, because
usually. Not usually.
I have a trip to Mexico, and it would make 0 sense for me to go back home and then.
Oh, don't do that. Yeah, just stay in Tampa. That's fine.
Yeah.
Or you could go down. Now, if you wanted to, well, even you could go down to Miami, but that would be. You still wouldn't get a whole lot of pool time in.
I already took a hotel for all
Yeah, that's
the
fine.
days in Tampa. So.
Tampa's fine. It's just that middle of January till the middle of or the beginning of April is when you would break out dice and roll them and just determine what the weather is that time of year.
Okay, not nice. I mean, it's not going to be Chicago.
No,
generally, so.
no. In fact, it won't even be North Carolina or Georgia. I mean,
There we go.
it'll be chilly for them. It'll be chilly for you, but it won't be miserable. So, just take a hotel that has an indoor pool. There's not many in Florida that have indoor pools, so that's usually up north.
I don't know. I took the hotel. I'll find out when I get there.
Okay, and we can talk more about this next week. We can talk more about Florida weather in the winter because it is definitely nicer than most of the rest of the U.S. So anyway, we're back next. So Monday you've got a video coming out. Wednesday we have a podcast. Thursday maybe on the AMA. Friday we'll be back here. And as Karen says, stay away from the alligators and crocodiles. Let me finish the sentence for you. Unless you're eating them.
I did eat crocodiles. No.
Alligator.
One of the two. I'm not sure.
Alligator. You probably had alligator
whichever
tail.
of the two is in Africa, that's the one I
That's probably
did.
crocodile then.
Okay.
Yeah, alligator tail, especially in Florida, is really good. Tastes like chicken. Tastes exactly like
That's
chicken.
what I learned. I tried those different, and I realized that every animal tastes like chicken. There is no difference.
Except beef. Beef tastes different
Except
than chicken.
beef, exactly.
And then you have bison tastes like beef.
That one I'm not sure whether I tried. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, a lot of chicken in different forms.
Yes. Okay. So thanks for everybody for being here this week, and we'll talk to you again next week. And if you're in the U.S., have a great Thanksgiving, and please eat lots and lots of turkey for me. I think I'm going to have a little bit, but I'm not going to overdo this year. I overdid last year. I paid for it. I don't want to do that again. So anyway, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.